Where there's smoke, there's fire. Normally, there's fire here. AT&T, if they wanted to, could roll out an extremely dominant content platform. There are a myriad of examples to say if you open up traditional media and then you let this ecosystem of content creators just kind of co-create on top of that traditional media content, you now have unique content. Elliott Management will probably get their way and force a review, and AT&T will probably concede and start to divest these assets. Elliott Management disclosed a $3.2 billion stake in AT&T and is saying that they need to review all options are on the table. Basically, AT&T bought DirecTV for maybe $60 billion. They bought Time Warner, $108 billion. I mean, wow, did they overpay? Why did they overpay? These are linear assets, people. Verizon's actually been very smart. The people I've spoken to at Verizon say, hey, look, we understand that the technology layers are going to be disintermediated, and we don't want to invest in these kind of linear assets and do these big content plays. Verizon's deal with Oath was, $3 billion, and it's a drop in the bucket compared to $108 billion. And I'm pretty sure AT&T DirecTV was around $49 billion. I mean, these are massive deals. And the problem is the synergies aren't there. What AT&T was trying to say was that they're going to be able to build an ad business around this stuff. Well, that hasn't panned out. Guess who's the number 3 digital advertiser in the US? Amazon, not AT&T. Far from it. So again, it's linear business buying linear business. AT&T, if they wanted to, could roll out an extremely dominant content platform. Extremely dominant content platform. Think about all the user-generated content. Think about what YouTube's doing. When you get to 1 million or 2 million subscribers on YouTube, they actually plateau your account. It's actually much harder if you're a content creator on YouTube for you to get to 5 or 10 million subscribers. They do this purposely because they don't want you to have too much power, like PewDiePie, who PewDiePie and YouTube don't get along. There's a lot of content creators on content platforms that are maturing that would absolutely love to find alternative channels with huge audiences that they could go and create content for. They have the means to do it. They have at least, 1 million or 2 or 3 million followers already. And what AT&T via Time Warner has is the primo traditional media content. And as we saw with Twitch and Amazon last fall opened up Thursday Night Football to Twitch. And so what Twitch was able to do is go to its hundreds of thousands of live streamers and say, hey, come commentate on the game. And now if I'm a viewer, I can watch the game and then I can watch Ninja. Well, not anymore. You can't watch Ninja because he's not on Twitch anymore. But I can watch fill in the blank Ninja live streamer on Twitch commentate about the game. Barstool Sports, if they wanted to, could go onto Twitch and do their commentary about the football game while I watch the football game. Barstool right now, what they do is they post videos on YouTube of you just watching their reaction to watching the football game. And hundreds of thousands of people watch that stuff, but you can't watch the game in real time. You can just watch them reacting to it. But still, that gets huge audiences, right? So this is just one example where if you open up traditional media content to just say commentators who can now provide this commentary over the game, like Tony Romo. I love to watch Tony Romo commentate football games. Why? Because he can literally predict what's about to happen. Would I pay $1 a month to watch Tony Romo or Barstool Sports commentary while watching a football game? Absolutely. And you actually see this model with NFL Red Zone, which is basically kind of doing editing of the games and then providing commentary. Some commentary, lots of editing. But there are a myriad of examples to say if you open up traditional media and then you let this ecosystem of content creators just kind of co-create on top of that traditional media content, you now have unique content. You now have content that's going to be much more interesting to watch via AT&T versus via cable or some other kind of competitive distribution channel. Not even to mention these content creators bringing their own original content to your platform. But I think you could seed this in much easier ways, kind of along the lines of these co-creation models. So anyway, that probably won't happen because Elliott Management will probably get their way and force a review. And AT&T will probably concede and start to divest these assets. I mean, otherwise, Elliott's an activist investor, and Elliott is absolutely calling out these roll-up acquisitions that they paid huge premiums for. And I just don't see, I never did at the time. And if anything, the market's only gotten more competitive and more expensive. And now you have Disney and Netflix, and every other week there's a new player getting into it. And by the way, when AT&T did the acquisitions, all the senior management left. Richard Plepler, sorry, Richard, I butchered the name. Head of HBO, gone, right? You can go down the list. All the executives that were actually running these businesses aren't there anymore. So there's a lot of issues, both just in the execution of the acquisition. And then you had the head of AT&T's communications business step down somewhat abruptly in the past week. There's where there's smoke, there's fire. Normally, there's fire here. If AT&T wanted to do platform stuff, I think they could, and they could really do it because they have the scale and they have the content. But I don't think they have the kind of execution capacity to pull it off. Hi, this is Alex Mozed. Thanks for joining us on Winner Take All. If you enjoyed the content today, which I bet you did, please comment, subscribe, and definitely message me on Twitter when we're doing live streams. Also, please note, all opinions expressed about stocks or public companies on the show are exactly that, opinions. This is not investment advice. Don't act on it. WisdomTree licensed Applico's Platform Insights data product to aid in the creation of the PLAT ETF. Thanks for joining us.